Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today we have a new session about a service and cloud service which is coming GA a few weeks ago. We also cover today a real important topic about extended security updates. But before we go to the session, before we go to the agenda, I'd like to give you a short introduction about me. My name is Lagler-Gruener. I'm a lead cloud architect in one of the biggest consulting company in Austria named ACP IT Solution. The focus from ACP is cloud, is Microsoft Azure Cloud, to bring our customers to the cloud, to bring to our customers secure and on the right way to the cloud. I'm also proud to be a Microsoft Azure MVP, and you can see I have a lot of social media accounts. You can find me on X, you can find me on Twitter, on LinkedIn. I also have my private blog called cloudblogger.at. I have my private YouTube channel for sure, and also my private repositories to share content, to share software or scripts with you. My main focus is Microsoft Azure. I have a lot of certification on different areas, but you can also see I have 2 certifications on other hyperscalers like AWS and GCP. Enough from me, so let's go to the topic, let's go to the agenda from today. Today we will cover the new service, the new GA service, Azure Update Manager. This video is from Type Nugget, so I think we have at a session about 30 minutes. It's from video category level 300, so we go a little bit deeper into the technical details. So let's go to the agenda from today. First of all, we talk about why Update Manager. What's the benefit about Azure Update Manager? Then we go to the next topic about the support matrix, which services, which operating systems are supported for Update Manager. We go to the really important topic from on-premise customers about extended security updates for Windows Server 2012 and as well SQL Server 2012. What's new? How can you manage? How can you handle your ASU updates? From the pricing perspective, it's also really important what's coming next, what's upcoming. And at the end, I will show you a live demo. I will demonstrate a live demo about Update Manager, the functionality also where you can find the ESU update configuration or the centralized configuration. So let's go to the Windows Update Manager. Why Windows Update Manager? First of all, Update Manager is a platform as a service in Microsoft Azure, which provide a native experience with zero onboarding. It's really important. It's really easy to onboard your on-premise environment. It's a built-in functionality on Azure, so you can onboard all your Azure VMs, all your Azure resources really easy to Azure Update Manager. As well, on-premise server, the only thing what you have to do is you have to onboard your on-premise server over Azure ARC. Then you can see inside Azure your ARC resource, and then you have the ability to onboard the ARC resources to Azure Update Manager. It's no dependency on log analytics or Azure automation more, so you don't need these 2 services. Update Manager is a service which is really old, so we have 2 different versions. We have the old version which requires log analytics and also Azure automation. With the new version you don't need the services anymore. We have an Azure policy support, so you can onboard your VMs to the right configuration, to the right group over Azure policies. It's global available on all regions, in all Azure regions. It works with Azure rules and identities, so you can define your rules, which persons inside your company can manage Azure updates. And as well, you can also configure custom rules to fine granularly give the permissions to your colleagues and colleagues. It offers enhanced flexibility, so you can install updates right now, immediately, or schedule them for later on. You can check for updates automatically or on demand. So when you want to check right now which kind of updates are available for my systems. You can trigger it. And the sync path cycle is related to the Patch Tuesday from the Microsoft, to the official Patch Tuesday. So let's go to the support matrix. What kind of OS is supported? First of all, let's go to first-party updates on Windows. So all updates included to the secure patch from SQL Server and other Microsoft software. Third-party updates are also supported if you want to use your local VSUS, if you want to use other tools like STCM and the update repository, it's supported, so you can also bring your third-party updates inside your configuration. It's supported in all regions. This is really, really important. So from the Microsoft perspective, operating systems in Microsoft Azure, you have here different options. So you can see here the SKU from Microsoft Azure VMs from the Windows perspective. So 1709, 1803, and so on. Server 2016 up to 2022 is supported. From the Linux perspective, you can see here we have the ability to support Ubuntu. We also have the ability to update Red Hat Enterprise or CentOS. From the operating system perspective from on-premise, it's really, really important or really interesting when we think about on-premise resources. In some situations you have your on-premise environment, in some situations you have maybe a multi-cloud strategy, so you also maybe onboard AWS EC2 instances to your update management. And this is also supported, so you can see here we have for sure Microsoft Windows OS is supported for sure also from other hyperscalers. But when we think about Amazon Linux, so we have here the ability to also update Amazon Linux 2023 or Amazon Linux version 2, the x86 version. Here you can see all supported resources from on-premise, from ARC resources. We have here the ability to update CentOS, SUSE Linux, Red Hat Enterprise, Oracle, Debian, Rocky Linux. I never heard this before. Also Windows Server in different versions. Yeah, that's the support matrix from the operating system perspective from Microsoft Windows and Linux on the Azure side, and also from on-premise. So when we go to the next really important topic, enterprise security or extended security updates. It's not new, so in the past you also have the ability to use extended security updates for Server 2008, 2008 R2, Server 2012. In the past it was a little bit different, so you have to generate your key, you also have to implement your key to your operating system, install a specified patch, and then you get all updates. Before you will get this, you have to agree a license agreement and so on and so on. In the new version, it's really interesting, so you can use or you can implement your server over Azure ARC. So it's really important, it's really easy to onboard your Server 2012 or your SQL 2012 over Azure ARC to Microsoft Azure. Inside Azure you can see this object and you can assign inside Azure on a centralized managed environment all your ESU updates, extended security updates, to your systems. You can generate a new license, assign a new license centrally, and you have a single glass of pane where you can see all your licenses as well all your licensed servers from on-premise or from other hyperscalers. Additionally to the ESU centralized management, you also have the ability to use more and more services from Azure when you onboard your clients or your server to over ARC to Microsoft Azure. You also have the ability to use Azure Update Manager for updates, to update the extended security updates on your clients. You can also use VSUS, you can also use Update Manager, you can also use Endpoint Configuration Manager, or you can use third-party tools. When you update your clients, you also have the ability, when we go to the Microsoft Defender for Cloud perspective, to implement cloud security workload protection or cloud security posture management. It's really, really interesting. Okay, so Microsoft brings that feature a few weeks ago GA. GA also means Microsoft have a pricing behind that service. So when we go to the pricing perspective, you can see here the first two topics. It's really cool. It's really important. For Azure VMs, update management is for free. You can provision up to 100 Azure VMs. You can use update management for free for each resource inside Azure. From the on-premise perspective, we can use Azure Update Management for free when you provision VMs on an Azure Stack HCI environment with enabled Azure benefits. So it's important. When you have other hyperscalers, when you have a VMware infrastructure on-premise and you want to onboard the VMs from another hyperscaler or from another hypervisor, you have to pay $5 per server per month. And the important part here is you pay per day. So $0.16 per server per day. So when you provision a new server, onboard the server to your environment and the server is only running one day, you have to pay $0.16 per server per day. It's really important to understand. So you have to pay only for servers which are not provisioned on an Azure Stack HCI with an Azure benefit enabled, and also not for servers which are coming from Microsoft Azure. Okay, so that's from the pricing perspective. It's also really, really easy. Let's go to the what's upcoming. Microsoft plans to support more VM images, more operating system to extend the support for the operating system inside Microsoft Azure as well from on-premise perspective. Microsoft also plans to implement a pre or post script. This is really interesting. So you can execute runbooks before or after deployment. So for example, you install a software and you want to clean up the installed sources from the system, for example, after the deployment was succeeded. So a pre and post script is in planning. It's not available at the moment, but it's in planning for future configurations. So we are now at the end. From the theory section. Let's go to the live demo. First of all, in the live demo, we will cover the update management overview. I'll give you an overview about the service, about the functionalities, how you can onboard a server, how you can execute, how can you generate Azure ARC scripts with different ways. Then we go to the configuration options to schedule, to scan on demand. Then we go to the reports, and at the end, I will show you also an overview about extended security updates, where you can find the licenses, how you can create a new license, how you can assign a license to an eligible VM. Okay, so let's hand over to the live demo. Okay, here we go. We are now in my demo environment. You can see I've opened the Azure portal. When you want to find Azure Update Manager, it's really simple. Go here to the search bar and search for the Update Manager service. And here's the new service, Azure Update Manager. Okay, so here you can see the overview perspective about Update Manager. It's enabled per default. So in this case, you can see all your VMs with an update status, with pending updates, with no updates installed, and so on. Okay, so you can see on the upper side, check for updates, one-time updates, scheduled updates, and also the settings. If you want to enable Microsoft updates for a specific VM, you can select here the VM to enable the update management service for the VM. In my case, you can see I have 13 VMs, 10 VMs from Microsoft Azure, inside Microsoft Azure, and 3 VMs from hybrid connectivity from Azure ARC connectivity settings. So when we go to the VMs itself, you can see here, now I can see only my 2 VMs. So I have here filtered my VMs down to only 2. So you can see here I have an ARC enabled server and an Azure VM. And on the Azure VM machine, you can see I have 1 pending update. So what I can do now is to recheck for new updates, select the VM and go to check for updates and assess now. So in this case, now the assessment will start. So what happens at the backend? The extension which is installed on the VM, the Microsoft Update extension, will execute and check the VM about new version, new Windows updates, and will come back to the Azure Update Manager and will show the new updates from the VM. On the right side, you can also see is the VM running or is the VM connected as well. So in this case, you can also see here there's a no periodic assessment or associate schedules to install updates. To do this, it's really simple. You select the VM, go to settings. In this case, it's not possible because at the moment this is update assessment running. But when we go here to this VM and say, hey, I want to schedule an update, you can define here where you want to save your updates, where you want to save your scheduler, give it a name, say, okay, what kind of VMs is in the main scope, reboot if it's required, and define here a schedule. You can say start on each day on this hour and maintain window up to 3 hours, 4 hours, days, and what you want. Okay, then you can also define a dynamic scope if you want. So you can define a scope based on the subscription, also based on the VM itself, or filtering it by resource groups, by tags, what you want, what you prefer. So if you want to, and this is from my perspective, one of the interesting features when you assign a specific tag to a VM. For example, you have a productive environment, you have a dev environment, you have a test environment. You define 3 different schedules, and normally you update your dev environment 2 or 3 weeks before the productive environment. Give it the VM a specific tag. Important, not only Azure VMs, also Azure Stack HCI VMs or Azure ARC resources. Assign the tag, and the VM will be dynamically assigned to the scope, assigned to the scheduler, and the updates will be installed. Okay, this is from this perspective. Then you can go to the resources. You also can select separate resources. So if you want to select resources manually or with dynamic scope, go to the updates. You can include, you can exclude updates. You can exclude VM types. You can exclude KB IDs, what you want, what you prefer. At the end, you can go to the tags and give it a separate tag, the update schedule in this case, and click on Review Create, and the scheduler is created. And when it's done, you can see here associated scheduler and associated scheduler to the VM itself. And you can see now the check for updates is done. It's finished. On the upper left, you can see it was successful. And now we have 2 updates. So one update is pending before we schedule an on-demand update check. And now we have 2 updates available. To the installation process, you can go here to the install to update and say, okay, one-time update to install the updates right now. Or you can define your schedule. But let's have a look to the VM itself, what kind of updates are available for the VM. So let's go to the VM. It's now filtered, so we go back to the VM resource, to the VM item inside Azure. And you can see here on the VM, it's the VM resource. Here's a separate section available, recommended updates. And here you can see the 2 updates which are required. Is the reboot required? One is the publishing date, the KB ID, and so on and so on. When we go back to the Azure Update Manager and go to the overview section, you also can see here the VMs. So one pending update, it's not updated. In this case, we have here the VM itself. Okay, from the history perspective, you have here the ability to see, okay, what happens in the past, how, when was an update installed, was it successfully installed, was the operation status, is it an assessment, is this an install update, is this a manual assessment, and so on and so on and so on. From the update reports perspective, you can see here we have a separate and predefined report. Select here your subscriptions. Select here my 3 subscriptions. And here you can see the report inside and workbook. So you can define your own workbook at the end, and you can use this workbook, for example, also on dashboards. You can pin it on dashboards if you want. So normally you go here and say, hey, I want to pin exactly this view to my custom dashboard, to my initial dashboard to see. And on the first login, when I log into Microsoft Azure, I want to see my status from my VMs, from my VM update status perspective. Okay, so that's from update management. It's really simple. So there's nothing more to say. So the only thing what you have to do is you have to enable update management for your Azure VMs. You have to define a schedule. You maybe define different schedule based on a dynamic scope, based on a tagging scope, and that's it. So from the on-premise perspective, how you can assign, how can you onboard your on-premise VMs to Microsoft Azure. This is really easy. You can use Azure ARC. So when we go here to Azure ARC, there is a section or a subsection here, infrastructure machines. So you can go here to the machines. You can see here 3 types, 3 objects, Azure ARC objects. 2 objects are an Azure Stack HCI. One is offline, and the other one is a VM, is an Azure ARC enabled VM. When we go to the add section, you have here the ability to add a VM, a machine, and you have here 3 different types. The first 2 are, from my point of view, the most common, the most interesting one. When you want to onboard a single server, so it's really easy to generate here the script. You define on which subscription the object should be placed. Also the resource group, you define the region for the resource inside Azure. You define the operating system. Here you have the connectivity method. There are 3 options available. The public endpoint, this is the default connection. So you have to configure your firewall. So you have to enable outbound access over port 443 to a dedicated endpoint. You can also use a proxy, or if you want, you can also connect Azure ARC to a private endpoint. You have to add in your environment a VPN connection or an express route, what you prefer, and then you can connect your ARC resources to a private endpoint inside your network. But to implement this, you have to install more resources. You have to configure more and more services. The most common methods are public endpoint or public endpoint over a proxy server. Auto manage best practices. So this is another option to implement VMs to Azure Update Management, to Microsoft Defender for Cloud, for example, and so on and so on. You can choose it or you can leave it, what you prefer. Then you go to the tags. What kind of tags do you want to implement to the Azure resource? And here's exactly that option what you have. So when we think about scheduling updates, we say, okay, when we have a resource with a specified tag installed, you can define here a tag. For example, update management is productive. Then the new resource will be automatically added to the schedule, and the next updates will be installed when the scheduler is running. And at the end, you can download here's a script. It's not successful, so in this case, I'm using here a region. And here you have your script. You have the final script for your environment. And what you have to do is to log in. also to execute the script in PowerShell, and then you have to log in with your user account with the right permission and say, hey, I want to onboard the VM to Azure ARC, to Azure itself. And then you can see the resource, you can see the object inside Azure, and you can use it. This is the single server onboarding step. When we go to the multiple server onboarding steps, so when we think about automatically deployment, you want to onboard your VMs over SCCM, for example, or over other tools, you have to use a multiple server onboarding. What you have to do is you have to generate a service principal, give the service principal the rights, the right permission to onboard new services, new server to Azure ARC, and you can execute the script without an interactive login from your user account. So that's the two options what you have, or what we prefer. The most common, the most preferred way here is multiple server onboarding, but you have to configure a little bit more to onboard your VMs. So when we're here, you can see here your VMs, your onboarded Azure ARC VMs. You can also onboard more and more from different locations, not only from on-premise and also from AWS, for example, or for GCP, what you prefer. But we have here a new option, and the option here is extended security update. So this is really cool. So we have this functionality here right now. And when we go here, you have the ability to create a new license, to create a new extended security update license for a Windows Server 2012, 2012 R2, or SQL Server, what you prefer. It's really easy. You can see here in a single pane all your licenses. And when we click here on create, it's the same procedure. You define here your subscription, the license name. Do you want to activate now or later? The region, also the SKU. Is this a server data center edition or standard edition? Give it a physical core or virtual core, the amount of cores, the amount of 2 cores. And yeah, that's it. When it's done, you have a new license and you can go back and you can see here all your licenses, all your supported or all your requested licenses. And when we go to the eligible resources, normally you should see here Windows Server 2012 server from on-premise over Azure ARC, as well from Azure. But from the Azure perspective, it's not really required this way. So when we think here, only Azure ARC resources are available or displayed. And you have here the ability to assign the license to the Azure ARC resource, and you have also a single pane of view how many servers are onboarded over Azure ARC. You can also use the other features from Azure ARC like update management, like Microsoft Defender for Cloud, like changes inside your change tracking, and so on and so on. But you can also use here the update management, the extended security update license assignment in a single pane of glass. Okay, that's it from my session. That's it from the live demo. I hope you learned something about the new functionality, Azure Update Management, the new service, Azure Update Management, also the new ability what you have with extended security updates. So if you have any question, please write me a comment or connect to LinkedIn and write me a mail, what you prefer. I'm here. Enjoy the day. Thank you. Okay.